Starbound originally came out in Steam Early Access in December of 2013, and it blew up rather quickly. According to their website, within 3 months of the game being launched, it had already sold 1 million copies. From what I remember and from what I played, the reception to the game was rather positive. Of course, being in Early Access, it felt unfinished and was rather formulaic. You would build up technology and then fight a boss, which allowed you to get new technologies to fight another boss and so on. But people, including myself, liked it. It was a solid framework, the art and music were great, it just had to be worked on a little bit more. But after a good bout of playing it in Early Access, I decided, as I'm sure many other people decided, to wait for it to be finished before playing it fully. And then, on July 22nd of 2016, the game officially released, and many people didn't really like it. Despite the game having overall very positive reviews on Steam, if you scroll down to the recent reviews, a large majority of them are negative. So what's wrong with it? Well, the technology loop that was there previously was heavily changed, and was now a main story quest loop, where the player has to search for randomly generated civilizations in the galaxy, which is rather tedious, and from what I can tell doesn't really give the players any incentive beyond allowing them to go on to the next quest, which is another Search for Civilizations quest. Also, many of the reviews talk about how movement options were nearly completely removed during development, making the game slower and not as fun to move around in. And the UI is not good. It's confusing, there's a lot of buttons and tabs, and it's just not great. That aside, I found the most interesting part of these negative reviews was that many of them talked about how Chucklefish managed to ruin the good parts of the game throughout their early access development. And from looking through their dev posts throughout development, my speculation is that they seem to have moved the focus of the game from exploring a galaxy to doing these quests and the story, which is what may have caused many of the grievances that people have. If they have a main story, then it needs to encourage exploration, which led to the annoying RNG main quest line. They may have removed many of the movement options because it made combat and quests way too easy, and that's not great either. Again, this is a lot of speculation on my part, but if it's true that they fixated on the idea of quests and a story, then that was a huge mistake. The fun of a game about exploration and crafting is just that. Exploring the world given to you is what is exciting and fun about those games. When you look at other games in this genre, such as Terraria or Minecraft, you see that these games don't really have a direct story. Sure, both games have a final boss of sorts, but there's no quests leading up to them, nor are they any different from any of the other bosses, and the game can continue just the same after you beat them. The joy of those games comes from exploring and being rewarded for it, not from any arbitrary quest. When they added a main quest, they had to design the game around doing that, which is what led to the procedural generation being much more repetitive, so players wouldn't have to play forever to complete the RNG quests. It's why movement options were limited so combat wouldn't be so easy that players could blitz through quests in combat. It's why many of the planets are similar so that the player will easily find what they need. Starbound is not a bad game. Thousands of people, including people I know, have been having tons of fun with it, but it isn't as good as it could have been. It really is unfortunate what happened to Starbound. Thank you for watching.